Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Butch Krieger, and it is a pleasure to be here with you at Louisville, Kentucky on my 15th year here in Louisville. And I'd like to this time to introduce to you my sidekick, ladies and gentlemen, the guy that came aboard 3 or 4 years ago here with us. He is if you're listening to local radio, he's your morning newsman on WAMZ, Mr. Scott Douglas. Not only that, he's very much involved with Louisville Speedway, now known, over here on the Outer Loop area, one of the nicest NASCAR speedways in the area, NASCAR sanctioned. And not only that, but he's one of the voices of the United States Hot Rod Association. So if you would, ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it, Mr. Scott Douglas? What do you say?
Thanks, Butch. I'll tell you what, it is absolutely a thrill to be here on this final day, and there's so much excitement in here. It's incredible, and you know, it just all builds Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we're looking forward to an incredible Saturday. And as we've talked often, this Saturday afternoon show has built up to be so much fun over the years, and we're looking forward to a great afternoon of action, and then tonight's crowning of the champions right here on behalf of ICI and the National Farm Machinery. It's 25th Championship Tractor Pull. Silver anniversary. It's great to be a part of it.
Yeah, I know, and I'll tell you, the competition, I don't know how many people have been here every night and are here this afternoon, but I'll tell you what, there has been some outstanding competition on this track every night.
Yeah, and we haven't seen nothing yet. Today's going to be awesome, and it's going to start this afternoon. So let's go ahead and meet the drivers and the competitors, and I hope we'll give them all, everybody needs to warm up a little bit, get your hands put together anyway, and give everybody a big round of applause as we introduce them to you. And we're going to begin with the Mighty Mites here this afternoon, the 1,850-pound mini rod tractors will be in action. Right off the bat, the man out of Lewisburg, Ohio. In the Sting, will you please welcome Roger Weissong. Up second out of Kilbuck, Ohio. In the Right Stuff, here's Ed Chalfant. From Macomb, Illinois, Hog Wild, this is Brad Hammond.
All right, and up next out of Pekin, Illinois, driving Wildfire, it's Mike Swing right there. Out of Stuttgart, Arkansas, the guy that taught me how to say Stuttgart, Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Terry Dabbs. And out of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, the rough and ready tractor, Mr. Kevin Stauffer.
From Evansville, Indiana, pulling in the Gambler, here's Russell Korf. From Paris, Illinois, in the heartbeat of America, this is Donald Finney. And from Marion, Michigan, in the Showdown Mini Rod, here's Ron Vandertook.
Making another appearance here, has been here a long, long time. Driving the Buckeye Special out of Thornville, Ohio, Richard Peters, ladies and gentlemen. Out of Normal, Illinois, driving Rat Poison, here's Byron Dungy. Right there, Byron Dungy. And last year's winner, the defending champion, ladies and gentlemen, out of Zanesville, Ohio, driving the Sky King tractor, here's Dave Campbell.
From Ravenna, New York, in the Precious Gem, here's Stephen Doherty. Several-time winner anywhere you go in mini rods, including right here in Louisville. From Pine Bluff, Arkansas, in Tough Enough, here's Glenn Gunther. Certainly one of the top pullers in mini rods for several years, having a great winner. Already seen him go to Victory Circle. He'd love to do it here today. From Wadesville, Indiana, in Footloose, here's Larry Kester.
And another former winner here and a tough competitor, as always, out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Driving the Red Fox, ladies and gentlemen, Dennis Horst. And rounding out this outstanding field out of Washington, New Jersey, driving Nail It, here's Jack Brink. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give our 1,850-pound mini rod drivers a nice round of applause.
The second class we'll come at you with today is the 6,200-pound 4x4, the four-wheel drive modified trucks. And up first, out of Claremore, Oklahoma, in the Sudden Impact, here's Donna Webb. Up in the second spot from Henry, Tennessee, in the Tennessee Stud, here's Nathan Replogle. Out of Radcliffe, Kentucky, in Ritter's Critter, please welcome George Ritter.
And out of Salem, Indiana, a brand new motor, a brand new truck, the Spellbound Machine, here's Mike Chastain. Out of Pataskala, Ohio, Mr. Roger Crawford. And out of Harrodsburg, Kentucky, driving the Mad Dog Chevrolet, Aaron Mobley.
Well, this next trio each has national championships under their belt in recent years. First from Wayne, Ohio, in the Saturday Night Driller, here's Tommy Holman. From Annapolis, Maryland, in the High Roller, this is Howard Lewis. And right here in Louisville, Kentucky, in Stitches 10 Can, here's Jim Lyons.
And out of Louisville, Kentucky, the former Nightlife Chevrolet, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Buddy Jean. And Buddy Jean. Out of Midway, Kentucky, the Fast Break Chevy, Gary Varner, the Varner brothers. And out of Derry, Pennsylvania, driving that Jeep known as Gone AWOL, here's Gene Fanny Jr. right there.
Out of Pocahontas, Illinois, pulling in the Southern Belle, here's Gerald Amon. From Athens, Ohio, back in time, this is David Willoughby. The reigning and the four-time world champion from Davie, Florida, and Mr. Sparkle, here's Glenn Davis. And rounding out this stellar field of four-wheel drive trucks from Winchester, Virginia, in small change, this is Bob Minnick. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put your hands together for all the four-wheel drive competitors. Let them hear you down here.
And the final class afternoon, we draw our attention to the Superstock Tractor, 7,500 pound. Up number one out of Greensburg, Pennsylvania, the recycled red, here's Mark Bradish. Mark Bradish. Out of Hamilton, Ohio, Smoke and Thunder himself, Tom Foley. And out of Ackerley, Texas, the other part of the Blagrave team driving Red Thunder, here's Steve Blagrave.
Out of Cary, Ohio, pulling in lethal injection, this is Jim Hafford. From Marion, Ohio, the Deer Harvester, this is Mike Smith. From Strawberry Point, Iowa, in the Triple Massey, here's Jason Clinton.
And out of Updike, Illinois, the all-business tractor, here's Doug Leake. Doug Leake, ladies and gentlemen. Out of Valmeyer, Illinois, the Hyperactor tractor, Bob Schilling. Bob Schilling. And out of Connorsville, Indiana, the Ultralight, here's Gary Gettinger.
From Millstadt, Illinois, the Executor, this is Gene Hofstetter. From Oblong, Illinois, in the Squealer, here's Darrell Meese. From Strawberry Plains, Tennessee, in the Hulk, this is Robert Galloway.
And out of Lawrence, Iowa, been pulling for a long, long time here, driving the Imposter, here's Alan Brabeck. Alan Brabeck. Out of Farnhamville, Iowa, his dad a winner here last night, or the other night, against all odds, here's Matt Goodwin. And rounding out this stellar field, ladies and gentlemen, out of Denver, Iowa, the Demon Be Gone man himself, Mr. Scott Buss, right there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them all a nice round of applause. How about it? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for honoring our colors, and we appreciate it very much. Roger Wysong, the Sting, ready, willing, and able. Tess Fuller will decide whether or not he's going to take it or whatever here this afternoon as we get ready to go with the Sting. Roger Wysong, Lewisburg, Ohio. And right there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Roger a nice round of applause. How about it, Roger Wysong?
for Wysong, 2:28.10. We need Bill Sweeney. Please report to the scorer's table. Bill Sweeney, please report to the scorer's table. That's Bill Sweeney to the scorer's table, please.
California, the all-aluminum Rodex on the line right here. Mini rod action. Chalfont ready to go here with the right stuff. Ed Chalfont. And right there,
for Ed Chalfont and the right stuff, 2:22.56. Your lead distance is still Roger Wysong at 228.10 feet, 2:28.10.
now on the line. Mini rod action at its best. The hog lob. Brad Hammond Allen. Illinois. Right, Joe? Yeah, here we go.
Two at 2:24.56. Roger Wysong still your leader at 2:28.1. Butch Wainscott to go to ramp B as in boy. Chad Wainscott, please go to ramp B. Wildfire and Mike Swing out of Pekin, Illinois.
Whoa, trouble for Mike Swing. We don't exactly know what happened to him, but we'll go up and check things out here. This is not one of the most pleasant things an announcer likes to do, but we'll go up and check to make sure that he's okay, and after he made his run. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all he's going to get here this afternoon. How about let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it, Mike Swing? What do you say?
121.55 feet for the Wildfire out of Pekin, Illinois. We'll now go to Stuttgart, Arkansas for Terry Dabbs. Terry Dabbs out of Stuttgart, Arkansas in his mini rod pulling machine 1,850 pounder. Terry Dabbs out of Stuttgart, Arkansas, trying to beat 228.1. That's the distance pulled by Roger Wysong and the Sting.
You know, this guy could tell a story on me. When I first started announcing, we were pulling mini rods. We went to Little Rock, and they were pulling mini rods there. And I kept making reference to Stuttgart, Arkansas. And man, those people, they came out of the audience after me, man. I mean, tell you, it was bad. It was real bad. They said, no, it's Stuttgart. I said, well, thanks a lot.
Put him in fourth place for the moment, 208 and 10 for Terry Dabbs. Kevin Stouffer, rough and ready out of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, is set to pull out next.
All right, here we go now with Kevin Stouffer. He's ready to go. Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. The tractor known as Rough and Ready. Running that precision engineering chassis out of the Glenn Gunther stables on the board. All right there. 541 cubic inch Rodeck. He made a nice run. Another Rodeck motor, all aluminum block. These Rodecks have a tendency to
5'3", 225.53 feet in rough and ready. That's number 2 behind Wysaw.
These guys just picked up a new sponsor. Now, you don't generally hear of anybody sponsoring a mini rod. Jasper Engines is their new sponsor, and they bought them some needed speed parts and a block and a couple of other stuff. They got a national sponsor now.
Right, Jasper Engines, of course, sponsors Ted Musgrave in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, so they into a lot of motorsports. That's a great sponsorship for Russell to get on that.
Yeah, it really is, you know, and you never... So the Gambler, Korf, makes a nice run. Which shakes up the order just a little bit, maybe. We'll check him out. Russ Korf, the Jasper Engines Gambler, I should say. That'll be the new name of that machine, the Jasper Engines Gambler. Let's give it up.
212.03 feet.
All right, here we go now. The heartbeat of America out of Illinois. We have set the full pull at 225 feet is a full pull. 225 is a full pull. So we have 2 tractors currently out of here at over 225 feet. So we're 225 on the full pull.
Roger. All right, out now it's Ron Vandertook, the veteran out of Marion, Michigan, with his Showdown mini rod. Again, it takes 225 to be considered a full pull for our mini rods here this afternoon, and that's what the orange cone is going to be marking is the 225-foot mark, because that's what it takes to make it into our extra round, our pull-off round that'll come up here this afternoon.
We need a fire marshal, please, to the tractor area here. The fire marshal, please, to the tractor pull area here. All right, here we come now. Ron Vandertook and Showdown. This is a nice tractor, too. Let's see what happens. Problems. The last portion of the pull, right about the 50-foot mark, he started having a little engine problem. We got a little flame coming out of that front header there, but it's the alcohol burning off over that number 2 cylinder there without any problem whatsoever. He's okay. He's got a real cool alcohol fire right there burning off the top of that number 1 or number 2 header there, so everything seems to be okay. Let's give Mr. Vandertook
8-2. Ron Vandertook and the Showdown mini rod. Well, here comes Richard Peters. More little oomph would have got him into the pull-off.
Yeah, you know, and he's going to sit back here and think about that now for a year. If I only went 4,400s farther. Well, here we go now. Richard Peters, Thornville, Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, this tractor is very capable of a full pull. Let's see what happens. I'm going to say it right now. Peters is going through. Let's see what happens. What'd I tell you? What'd I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, huh? What can you say? Right there. Let's give Richard Peters a nice round of applause, folks. Richard Peters, Thornville, Ohio. The Buckeye Special, and man, oh man, right there. He would have shot. I think he's okay. I don't think he broke. I think he just shut it down. He got a little bit smart there.
Byron Dungy's rat poison out of Normal, Illinois.
Attention, Benny McKinnon. Benny McKinnon, would you please meet Mr. McKinnon, your brother, here at the announcer's area. Benny McKinnon, would you please come to the announcer's area, please? I don't know if you noticed that or not, but he was about half throttle. He got here this last 15 feet and he hammered on down.
Five, 217.95 feet. The defending champion, Dave Campbell, Sky King out of Zanesville, Ohio, set to come out of here next.
It is an experience. It's just solid horsepower, tractor pulling, and good camaraderie, just like the Louisville Farm Show. And I'll tell you, it's all outdoors, and the blue shirts, as they're called, do an outstanding job. You got to come to Bowling Green sometime and just see it.
He joined the pull-off field, a full pull for Dave Campbell and the Pepsi Sky King. Stephen Doherty's Precious Gem out of Ravenna, New York.
Doherty with not so smooth a ride.
Nine feet for Stephen Doherty. Precious Gem. Now here, if there's a good bet to get out of here, it's this guy. Glenn Gunther and the Tough Enough Mini Rod, and he is always tough enough, out of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Larry Kester on deck, so we're really into a heavyweight portion of the program right here. Man, he is so smooth. That was a beautiful run. Picture perfect. He made it with ease. Ladies and gentlemen, how about it? Put your hands together for Glenn Gunther and Tough Enough.
I don't know yet. We'll find out when we fire it up and make another run.
Well, we know there's a lot of smoke coming out of number 8 cylinder there, but I thought it was just a lot of heat built up.
Well, we didn't get a chance to warm it up like we need to, and I'm hoping that's where the problem was. I don't know yet.
Well, this is a remarkable story about a guy that had an accident on the farm and lost both of his legs, ladies and gentlemen, and he has continued to pull in competition with his mini rod and done an outstanding job. Against all odds, this guy has done an outstanding job. Let's see what Kester does now. No one can let any handicap get him down. This guy had, and I'll tell you, as we get ready to bring him to the starting line. Larry Kester. Wadesville, Indiana. And a lot of problems with Kester there this time.
.55 for Larry Kester and Footloose out of Wadesville, Indiana. How about it, ladies and gentlemen, a good pull right there. Let's give it up for Larry Kester and Footloose down there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, obviously a full pull. Let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it? Dennis Horst, ladies and gentlemen. Denny Horst. Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, the Red Fox, and he is going to the pull-off. The big old 541, Keith Black Olds. He's like the McPhersons now, starting to run those Oldsmobile blocks. Keith Black making an Oldsmobile block now. And made it. Right now we've got what, Scott? 6 tractors out the door, as we say in a full pull, and they will be coming back. So Denny Horst now goes down to get things ready to come back out. We've got one more tractor to pull here in the class, and then we'll be ready for the pull-off. Well, I'll tell you what, I think it jumped out of gear on him, ladies and gentlemen. When it did, that's all she wrote for Nail It. Just kind of jumped out of gear on him. They have a tendency to do this once in a while, but let's give him a nice round of applause anyway, ladies and gentlemen. How about it, Jack Brink? Tough luck for Mr. Brink out of Washington, New Jersey. 4-3, 177 and 43. 177.43.
Exciting show.
She's in her tight. Okay.
Check it out, Butch. Butch going to do the safety inspection on it.
I told you they changed the sled, and they did. I'm not going to let them pull as far as they did.
Laser beam and the prism that figures everything up, and the laser beam reading shows 181.22 feet for Roger Weissong and the Sting. So that's now the distance to beat, 181.22 for Roger Weissong and the Sting. Up next, second pull-off competitor will be Kevin Stouffer from Wadesboro, Pennsylvania, and the Rough and Ready Mini Ride. Hope we got all the FFA groups recognized down here. If not, come by the announcer stand and write your group down so we can talk about you here in a minute. We'll get to that here in between the classes. I recognize all the FFAs here this afternoon. Looks like we're going to have a new leader when they read this out, and it's going to be Kevin Stouffer and the Rough and Ready out of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So first time around, he did not go as far as Wysong, but it looks like he was able to get past him this time. We'll get the official read on the distance momentarily. He needs to beat 181.22 to take the lead. Is 199.95. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big hand to your new leader right there, Kevin Stouffer and Rough and Ready. 199.95, just under 200 feet. The distance established now to beat. Up next will be Rick Peters. They've repaired that blower belt, and the Buckeye Special out of Thornville, Ohio, our third, will put us halfway through the pull-off for the 1,850-pound mini rods here this afternoon. All right, Rick Peters and the Buckeye Special again. At the end of the last run, Rick split a blower belt, so they repaired the blower belt, got him on there, and they've got him back at the line. We'll see if everything will hold for him right now. Rick Peters and the Buckeye Special out of Thornville, Ohio.
All right, so here we go. Watch the pylon, ladies and gentlemen, on the left side of the track. If the front of the sled, not the tractor, but the front of the sled goes past Photo Joe over there and the pylon, you know you got a new leader. Let's see what happens now. Richard Peters, Thornville, Ohio.
Fixed it.
Yeah, we'll move that pylon up. Yes, sir. Whoa.
Well, we know we got a new leader. Now we just got to see what the distance doesn't officially read for Rick Peters and the Buckeye Special. A super pull right there. Clearly puts him into the number one spot. The distance for Rick Peters and the Buckeye Special, your new leader, 230.07. How about it, ladies and gentlemen? A big hand for your new leader, Rick Peters and the Buckeye Special.
Richard Peters out of Thornville, Ohio. He's number one at this time as we get ready to see the next one coming out, Dave Campbell.
The defending champ, that's right, the Sky King, Zanesville, Ohio, and he's going to have to really lay down a shot to take the lead away from Rick Peters, who did a dandy run in the Buckeye Special. Apparently not at quite 100%, but he was close.
Whoa, right there, and there you go, folks.
Ouch.
Yeah. Oil plug off top. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of expense laying down here on the ground. Let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it, folks? Sir, your oil plug. I will pop that back in for you, maybe. Probably won't hurt anything. And there's a collected piece of block laying down here, or a rod in that. Dave, we're very sorry.
Not near as sorry as I am.
You know, that's the tough thing about an announcer's job when you got to come over after something happens like this. I remember a few months, well, I won't mention a NASCAR driver who threw the microphone back at a guy from TNN one night. But you've always been an outstanding competitor and always a good sport, and better luck next year.
Well, we're going to have some luck, but we'll come back most likely.
Well, you predicted Peters was going to do well here today. He sure did.
He's my buddy. I knew he'd do good.
Ladies and gentlemen, a gracious man. Let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it, David Campbell? And here you are, sir.
He goes 160.28 officially for the Sky King, now sitting in fourth position at 160.28. Up next, it'll be Glenn Gunther and that Tough Enough mini rod out of Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Then Dennis Horst rounds it out in the Red Fox. Two outstanding competitors, but they are really love Arkansas. Consistent winner in mini rod pulling competition, former winner here, and now trying to get the win this afternoon against the best mini rods in the country, because they're all right here for the big one, the ICI America's Championship Tractor Pull, part of the National Farm Machinery Show for the 25th consecutive year. Again, this is Pine Bluff, Arkansas's Glenn Gunther and Tough Enough.
Now Gunther shut it off. He got smart. He knew he was too light on the nose, and he was in trouble. And rather than damage that chassis, he shut her down real quick.
Yeah, that was a move to save some equipment right there. There wasn't no sense in abusing the equipment. He was going to come up short. So Glenn Gunther, nonetheless, I'm sure disappointed with the pull. 181.67 will put him into third place. Glenn Gunther and Tough Enough goes into third place with that pull of 181.67. Special, but if you remember again, the first time through, the Red Fox was tough. We'll see if he's got enough to get him here.
I'll tell you what, Richard Peters totally and completely has dominated this thing. A winner in his own right, Richard Peters. Great run.
That'll be good enough for third place behind the pulls of Peters and Stouffer. So it'll be at third place for the Red Fox and Dennis Horst at 198.70. Bob Schickel, please report to the announcer's stand. Bob Schickel, please report to the announcer's stand. Butch will talk to, and Dave Herndon will present the awards to momentarily. That'll be the Buckeye Special.
Last year, let's walk around over here so the people on this side of the arena can see you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a nice round of applause. How about this side of the arena right here? Dick Peters, Thornville, Ohio, the winner here. Now, you know, Richard, I'll tell you what. Here you are a winner, and you are still not satisfied with either of the two runs you made. They told me down there, yeah, it could have been better. Yeah, well, we should have did this. Why? You win it. Why are you so disappointed?
Well, I just know what we can do, and but we got up here in the first place. I guess that's all that matters. But there's still a little room for improvement. But we keep working on it.
You know, Dave Campbell predicted you'd win this thing today.
Well, I tell you what, me and Dave's good friends for a lot of years, and any one of these guys could have won it out here. It just happened to be my day, and I'm real glad for the rest of the guys where they placed. But I'm not going to turn this first place down. That's for sure.
When was the last time you won here?
I don't. It's been a few years, but I've been here a lot of years.
Yeah, so have I. And I know it's a long time since you've been back second and third in that. But congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, the gracious champion. Let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it? Thornville, Ohio's Dick Peters, ladies and gentlemen. Great run, great win. And the trophy presentations are being done by Mr. David Herndon from ICI Ag Products and Mr. Gib Gosser of the Kentucky State Fair Board here this afternoon with us, and we're glad to have him. Kevin Stouffer, good run, sir.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
It's the best you've ever finished here in Louisville?
Well, this is the first time we've ever pulled at Louisville, and we've wanted to come down for the last 2 years, and we've had motor troubles, and we had the motor apart and just couldn't come. So now we made it this year, and I'm real happy with that run.
Well, congratulations on a great run, and hopefully that big Fowler engine came through for you this time.
Yeah, thank you very much. It sure did.
Anybody you'd like to thank while we're standing here?
Yeah, I want to thank Jeff Fowler for helping me build the best engine I ever had.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, your winner right here. Let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it? Kevin Stouffer, ladies and gentlemen. It's out of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. Once again, our trophy presentations by ICI Ag Products rep, Mr. David Herndon, and Mr. Gib Goss for the Kentucky State Fair Board. And we go to a guy that's always seems like he's around here in the top three, Denny Horst. Denny, welcome once again.
I want to thank you, Butch. I want to thank all the fine people today that come out here to this pool. We didn't do quite as good of a day as we like to, but not everyone can win. I do need to correct you. I don't have my Oldsmobile in there yet. But when the tractors reletted here in December, we decided to put it on because we were expecting to have it by then. So this is still the old road deck, but it is the last run for it. It is retired after this event.
Well, I know the other night Dick McPherson's running one of the new Oldsmobiles, and that seems to be one of the new waves of the future here with this new Oldsmobile engine. We're glad to see so many people are trying them out. I know the drag racing world has gone to Oldsmobile with a lot of stuff, and now you guys are kind of jumping into it, trying to keep up innovatively.
Yeah, Keith Black Racing out of California is the one that builds these Oldsmobile engines, and they're just super people to work with, but they've had a real problem with their foundry where these blocks are casted, so that's sort of delayed things. But anyhow, I want to thank all the fine sponsors of this event, especially ICI, for them participating in this event for as many years as they have. And I run a dealership back home. We sell all their products, and we get super representation from their salespeople. It's just a great combination.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a nice round of applause. Mr. Denny Horse, ladies and gentlemen. Another one of those great Pennsylvania pullers out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. And once again, our trophy presentations with Mr. ICI Representative, Mr. David Herndon, and Mr. Gib Gosser of the Kentucky State Fair Board. And we want to congratulate those top three guys here this afternoon for an outstanding run.
We're going to do some pickup trucks now, big boy.
Yeah, now's the time. Are you all ready for some four-wheel drive pickup trucks? All right, you know, as we tour around the country doing truck and tractor pulls, we like to find out where your loyalty lies. And I want NFMS, my organization I call over here. I've got it laying somewhere, but anyway, yeah, here it is right here. Who was the winner last year? Wrong, Donnie Sanders. I lied. Okay, so Donnie Sanders was not pulling anymore, but we know that Tommy Holman always does well also out of Wayne, Ohio. So here we come now with Donna Webb. All right, ladies, let's give her a nice round of applause. How about it? Donna Webb, Claremore, Oklahoma. Sudden impact. Love the graphics on the side of that truck, man. I'll tell you, that is too neat. The graphics are outstanding. The bullet holes in the side of the truck. Look at that, Scott. The bullet holes in the side of the truck are sudden impact.
3 feet, 223.43 for Donna Webb. And I'm assuming she's taking it. She's pulling over here. We'll go.
Whoa! Hey, you know what the great thing is about this Dodge, ladies and gentlemen? It's got a Ford motor in it. That's no joke. It's got a Ford motor in that Dodge. His Ford wasn't done, so he borrowed a truck from a friend of his so he could come here this weekend to pull, and he put his Ford Hemi motor in there. It's got a...
If the sled stays at that point, that have to be considered a full pull, I would assume, because there's no more room to go. The FFA, where's Meade County at? All the way in the back, Meade County, 44 members and 12 guests with the gang tonight.
The Scott County FFA, 25 students and 1 advisor from Scott County FFA. Scott County FFA. Okay, well, we don't see those guys and gals.
At the Stewardson Strasburg FFA chapter, Strasburg, Illinois. Where's Strasburg, Illinois? There they are. Right over there at the front of 319. 45 members and chaperones out of Illinois.
Man, right there for George Ritter. Man, I tell you, pulling tough, pulling tight. The Watts Oil Company Fuels and Lubricants, Ritter's Critter, out of Radcliffe, Kentucky. Mr. George Ritter.
And for Ritter's Critter, if he takes the hook, 196.12.
Woodlawn FFA chapters and the advisor, John Cabot. Where are the people from Mount Vernon, Illinois? Far end again. There they are. Okay. Well, there's a brand new truck. Mike Chastain out of Salem, Indiana, I believe. He comes to the starting line. Got a brand new motor on board. The Spellbound machine, over 700 cubic inches. A mountain motor in itself, ladies and gentlemen. Built by Tom Termoyan with a little help of Jerry Janke. And they come to the starting line ready to go here with Spellbound, the Chevrolet. Be the first hook on this new truck and the motor. Man, oh man. Popped out the front of the grill there when he come down the track. I don't exactly know what happened, but you know, right there, Mike Chastain. We need a tow tractor or a lift. What, we break the front end on it? Oh, he must have broke a front end. That's why it jumped up like he did. We need the high lift, please. We need the high lift.
181.12 the distance for Spellbound. 181.12. Spellbound and Mike Chastain out of Salem, Indiana. I think you're looking at obviously another expensive situation right there, an unfortunate break for Spellbound and Mike Chastain. How about it though, Freedom Hall? Let's give him a nice round of applause. Beautiful truck, and we appreciate you coming out this afternoon.
Chevrolet people, let's give him a nice round of applause. Yeah, Chevrolet. Man, oh man, he made a nice shot. Roger Crawford.
Roger Crawford's Nationwide Bandit Chevrolet at 225.54.
He runs Pontiacs. See what he does now as he comes to the line here. Aaron Mobley. Glad to see Aaron back driving again and looking good and traveling all over the country and so forth. The Mad Dog. He also runs on the Kentuckiana Truck Pullers Association throughout the summer here all over the state of Kentucky and part of southern Indiana. That's a great little organization, you know, that tell you the truth of the matter, we was one of the founding fathers of that thing back in 1975. We were one of the guys that got it started. It's still going, I'll tell you. Here we come. Right there, Mad Dog Fabrication, custom-built haulers and trailers out of Harrodsburg, Kentucky.
.79 for Aaron Mobley, and Tommy Holman's Saturday Night Driller will roll out onto the track. Here with the Saturday Night Driller out of Wayne, Ohio. Former national points champion in the Saturday Night Driller. Now you got to shut down in time. Unless he's broke, they'll allow him to pull back to the sled or pull the sled back into the starting area and try it again. He shut her down in time. And indeed, they're going to back him up and the driller will be ready to go. So Tommy Holman did not go past what Butch just kind of calls the point of no return. So he's going to back up and do it again.
Yeah, he'll be coming back. When those Jerry Janke motor, this guy's another one of those Jerry Janke motor guys. He believes in those multi-cubic inches out of San Antonio, Texas. He never got it upstairs. I don't know if he came out in the wrong gear or what, but it never did get upstairs anywhere. So it's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. You know, I sit here looking through the field. I still don't see but one Ford sitting down there and a Dodge with a Ford motor in it. So as we continue to look for more Fords to come in here, it looks like a Chevrolet show right now.
Puts him into third place for the moment. Tommy Holman, Saturday Night Driller at 203.89 feet. Currently sits the number 3 position, and Howard Lewis and that High Roller Chevrolet out of Annapolis, Maryland will be coming out of here next.
Side of the track. This time she's moved to the left center portion of the track as she comes to the line. So let's see what happens to Donna. She gets ready to go. Swear she waited too long, I'll tell you right now, to get the RPM up. She came out and just waited too long before she came on up. Sudden impact, and it stays, looks like it'll remain Chevrolets right here.
.194.10, 194.10 feet for Donna Webb and the sudden impact Ford out of Claremore, Oklahoma. Now the Tennessee Stud lead distance, and that belongs to Roger Crawford's Bandit Chevrolet. All right, that Tennessee Stud hooking to the sled now will look for a green flag condition on the track and should be just about to get it. Although the sled is still, now the sled shows green and our track will momentarily be green and the Tennessee Stud is ready to kick back into action.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Ford people, there's that Dodge with that Ford motor. Hey, do I have any Dodge fans in here now? Oh, heck with you.
230.27. I don't see any way that's not going to be a full pull, but we'll wait and see where they draw the line. 230.07 for Nathan Rep logo and the Tennessee Stud.
Last time he pulled 239.47 before they changed the sled. So great run for the Tennessee Stud. Guy was in the big logger, and let's see what happens to him now. On the line, the high roller, Howard Lewis from Annapolis, Maryland.
It was 230.27 the actual distance, 230.27 for the Tennessee Stud. So he is unquestionably your leader, depending on where they draw the full pull line. Howard Lewis coming out in that high roller.
right there, that Lee Edwards racing engine come to life, ladies and gentlemen. The high roller going into the top 3 here of the Chevrolet. Hey, don't forget now, the 1993 tractor pull videos. Videotapes are $35 each. It includes all classes. Any 3 videotapes are $90.
I can make that 9.8. 219.98 for Howard Lewis. 219.98 for Howard Lewis. And the high roller. 219 finals. So we'll see more of Jim Lyons. He's had a busy week here. Normally does, though.
Well, Lyons, he ended up buying the Stitches organization, or the trucks and equipment here I guess several months ago. And he runs all over the part of the national circuit, as well as mostly stays in the state of Kentucky now. Bulls, here we come now, Jim Lyons. And right there for Jimmy Lyons, Stitches, the Tin-Kin GMC, Jimmy Lyons, Louisville, Kentucky. Buddy Jean will be up next.
Bandit and the Tennessee Stud are out of here. The Bandit and the Tennessee Stud both have now recorded full pulls, as that mark is drawn at 225 feet. We'll get a look at the distance for Jim Lyons momentarily. 204.96. 204.96 for Jim Lyons. And Stitches. Another Louisville puller, Buddy Jean, scheduled out next.
Whoa, hold him right down right there. Buddy Jean, the Nightlife Chevy, and competition cams, K-Motion valve springs, out of Bob Camp Stables, out of Lafayette, Indiana. And Dick Seepick tires on that baby right there. Buddy Jean and Nightlife.
I believe in the 4th spot for the moment. 4th place for the moment for Buddy Jean at 213.39. Gary Varner's Fast Break Chevrolet out of Midway, Kentucky is set to roll out next. Fast Break Chevrolet, the Varner Brothers team out of Midway, Kentucky. It takes 225 to get into the pull-off that is currently including the Tennessee Stud and the Bandit. So there's the pull for Gary Varner in that Fast Break Chevrolet. We'll check the distance momentarily. Midway, Kentucky-based Varner Brothers team. Brother Darrell was here in the 2-wheel drive class a couple of nights ago. Varner and the Fast Break Chevrolet, 207.66.
Very capable, the man out of Derry, Pennsylvania, of changing the order here. We've seen Gene Fanny win with this truck many, many times. Gone AWOL. The Fanny family is a very, very great bunch of people to get to know and that, and as we run around the country all over and everywhere, and good, good people, I'll tell you. Gene Fanny Jr., ladies and gentlemen, and the Snafu pulling team. And right there with the Jeep gone AWOL, Gene Fanny Jr. gone AWOL.
All right, obviously didn't get the lead. Now to make it into the top 3, you'd go for going AWOL, a good pull, but it doesn't knock Howard Lewis out of the top 3 here. 211.60 as the Southern Belle, Gerald Almond out of Pocahontas, Illinois.
Gerald Almond was the Illinois state champion last year on the Illinois circuit. And here you go. This is one of Photo Joe's favorite. This gentleman here from Pocahontas, Illinois, has won here many times. Let's see what happens. Photo Joe, you know how he is about Illinois equipment, I'll tell you.
I know, but did you give him a haircut? What's the problem over there? His ponytail's
I
gone.
went over a while ago and just checked my hair on the top of his.
Here we go.
And right there for the Southern Belle, Gerald Ammon and the Ammon Farms out of Pocahontas, Illinois.
'76. I'm going to tell you what, though. There are 3 left, and they're all candidates to join the pull-off. First up, he's a 2-time runner-up for the World Championship the last 2 years. Ford fans, this is another shot for you right here as David Willoughby is coming out. The final Ford is one that's got a shot at getting it out of here. It's David Willoughby. All right, here we go with the Ford of David Willoughby back in time.
Willoughby said a while ago, he made a prediction, I'll be down there with him. I said, okay, let's see. Here he comes. He's out of here. It's awfully close. Awfully close, ladies and gentlemen. David Willoughby, Athens, Ohio.
Well, what do you think, Ford fans? Let him hear you. David Willoughby's back in time. The distance is forthcoming. If he got past 220, David Willoughby and back in time. Howard Lewis got to get a new rock.
Yeah, he says he's got to get a bigger rock next time.
We're going to have the rock.
You fans didn't hear a while ago what was going on. Howard Lewis marked a rock right down there on the side of the track where the distance was.
People on top of it today. It is a full pull for David Willoughby. So you got 3 out and 2 of them. Glenn Davis and Mr. Sparkle. We've got 3 in the pull-off now. The Tennessee Stud's out. Of course, Back in Time is out. And the Bandit Chevrolet is out. This guy here is always a threat to hit that full pull mark. Glenn Davis.
All right, let's go, Chevrolet people. Let's get with the program. Here we come.
It's on the line, man.
Oh, man, it is close.
You may be talking inches either way right here. Hundredths of a foot. It is a full pull for Glenn Davis and the Mr. Sparkle Chevrolet. Get your math brain out. 23 hundredths of a foot. Is that about 1.5 inches?
That's it. That's it.
About 1.5 inches, the way we figure it, for a full pull. Don't matter how much you get it by, you just got to get it.
Well, we saw Bob Minnick win several times last year. This is a super running little El Camino, I'll tell you. Multi-cubic inch engine on board, and he goes wild and crazy with his small change machine. Let's see what happens now. The El Camino bangs the bumps down there. Tall gets tight on the drawbar. He's ready to go. Bob Minnick out of Winchester, Virginia. Small change, El Camino. Right there, ladies and gentlemen, for the small change El Camino, the Mino Camino.
So it's going to be an outstanding pull-off between 4 vehicles. The Dodge, the Tennessee Stud with the Ford Power, the Bandit Chevrolet, 5.45 feet, 205.45 for Bob Minnick, and the small change Chevrolet from Winchester, Virginia.
How many of you people think a Chevrolet is going to win here this afternoon? How many of you people think a Ford's going to win here this afternoon? How many of you people think a Dodge with a Ford motor is going to win here this afternoon? How many don't care?
I guess that's the John Deere crowd, huh? Good run, Chevy people. That's a good start from Roger Crawford and the Bandit. .27 feet, 207.27. 207.27, Roger Crawford and the Bandit. That is the distance to beat. Man to try and beat it now, the Tennessee Stud Man should be coming out. And Nathan Replogle out of Henry, Tennessee.
And that Hemi motor, that Ford Hemi, that shotgun motor is hot, let me tell you. I stood over there and felt it a while ago. He's got a lot of heat in that block. Let's hope it stays together for him as he comes down the track. These guys are awful worried and awful nervous about it, I'll tell you. The Tennessee Stud right here.
They check things to the starting line, ready to go. Track is clear for the Stud. Here he comes.
Oh, yeah. A Dodge and Ford combination. Made a great run here, the Tennessee Stud.
Well, we know 214.30. Officially, there's your new leader, the Tennessee Stud and Nathan Replogle right there. All right, more Ford action coming up with David Willoughby. The 1940 Ford he calls Back in Time. 2:14.30, the distance to beat. Ohio.
Look at him. He's so excited. You see him? He's just jumping up and down inside that truck. Hey, Ford people, you win #1.
Look at him, he's still throwing that fist in there. He's probably the most emotional guy that we have on the regular tour. And David Willoughby, when he's down, when he's got a problem, when he doesn't like an official's call, you'll see him jumping up and down it as well.
Did they already move that pylon? I guess they did, because I tell you, if they hadn't moved that pylon, I'd be beginning to worry a little bit about for the Ford people there.
He had to beat 2:14.30, so that's the number you're looking for. He had to beat 2:14.30. He goes 2:18.06, 2:18.06. Your new leader is David Willoughby, the back end time Ford. Hey, the engine shut down, Ford people. How about it? David Willoughby's back in time. So the Ford is number one.
We're going to find out.
It's Glenn Davis and the Mr. Sparkle Chevrolet, the reigning world champion in four-wheel drive truck pulling, according to the U.S. Hot Rod Association. And here we go. He's won 4 world titles, 3 of them in a row. Ready to go for Mr. Sparkle and Glenn Davis. Doesn't look good sitting there.
A lot of blow-by out of that left bank on that motor. Let's see what happens now. Here comes Davis.
I think he got him.
I think it's Chevrolet. Oh, man.
We're looking for the distance, 2:18.06. That was the pull for David Willoughby and back in time, 2:18.06. Boy, Dave win here. We're waiting for the distance right now. I guess they're going through the computer and the calculator right now, pumping the numbers in. The laser beam bounces off the prism. It's sent back to the laser originator, and then the computer actually figures up the angles and the distance to give us the pull. 2:18.06 was David Willoughby's pull. That's the leader. The distance for Glenn Davis and Mr. Sparkle, 2:19.11. The Mr. Sparkle Chevrolet is your winner this afternoon. Glenn Davis out of Davie, Florida, showing you how he is a 4-time world champion right there. Glenn Davis and Mr. Sparkle head into victory circle, and Butch will be talking to him momentarily. Let's give you 6th went to Buddy Jean and the Nightlife Performance Chevrolet.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chevrolet fans, let's give him a nice round of applause. Glenn Davis out of Miramar, Florida, huh? What do you say? All right. Well, Glenn, I'll tell you what, you really put on a nice show here this afternoon, and I think it kind of says it all on the side of this truck. 1990, 91, and 92 national champion. Congratulations.
Thank you. I want to thank all my Chevrolet fans for supporting me out here. And I've won a lot of national championships in my life and a lot of first place, but there ain't nothing like winning at the Farm Machinery Show. I did it 3 years ago here, and then Donnie Sanders took me over the last 2 years, and he helped me out a little bit tonight. We're number 1 again.
Well, congratulations. I know that you won it 3 years ago, and then Donnie come back solid 2 years in a row, and Donnie has sold his truck since, I understand.
Yeah, I'm glad he got rid of it because he's pretty strong here.
Well, where do you go from here now, Glenn?
I'll go to South Carolina.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your winner. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Glenn Davis out of Miramar, Florida. Congratulations. And our trophy presentations, ladies and gentlemen, by ICI Ag Products representative, Mr. David Hernan, and Mr. Bill Toll, the Kentucky State Fair Board. And we go now to talk to David Willoughby, who was so excited in that cab, he almost broke the steering wheel off. Congratulations on a great run.
Well, Butch, it's just a thrill to be here at Louisville for the Farm Machinery Show. In many people's opinion, the premier pull in the world for indoor events. And to finish in the top 5 here is a great honor. To finish second, I'm elated. As far as Glenn Davis goes, he's a many-time national champion. I've been runner-up the last 2 years. I guess I'm runner-up today, huh?
Well, I'll tell you what do we end up with? This is less than a half a foot or whatever it was between you two guys, and a half a foot could have been anything. But I'll tell you what, it's gracious in what you said, David. We look forward to seeing you on the summer tour, and good luck in the springtime.
Thank you very much, and thank you, ICI.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Willoughby out of Athens, Ohio. the back in time 1940 Ford. Congratulations. Once again, our trophy presentations by the Ag representative of ICI Ag Products, none other than Mr. David Herndon and Bill Toll, the Kentucky State Fair Board, as our trophy presenters. And Nathan Replogle. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give this guy a real nice round of applause. He had to make 3 runs this afternoon, huh? And that old Hemi was getting hot, wasn't it?
Yeah, very hot, but if I've got to line up behind 2 guys, why not the runner-up and the champion? So I'm proud to be 3rd.
Well, we're proud you're here, too. You say you haven't got that new truck done yet, huh?
No, it should be done about a month. I don't know, kind of like this one now.
Well, you just may want to just stop construction on that one, drive the old stud, huh?
The stud did all right, I think.
How's the lumber business right now?
Real good.
Real good. That's the way I like those boys from Tennessee. They don't say a lot, but they make their points. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a nice round of applause right there. None other than Nathan Replogle out of Henry, Tennessee. He's our 3rd place man here tonight, and once again, the trophy presentations from ICI Ag Products, Mr. David Herndon and Mr. Bill Toll of the Kentucky State Fair Board. Moline.
Looks like Big Red's up and ready to go.
We're ready. International on the starting line. Here we come. 7,500-pound super stock tractors.
All right, a good start. It's the recycled red International. How about it, International people? Let him hear you down here. We'll check the distance. In the meantime, the Madison Southern High School FFA, Madison County, with 22 members, 2 advisors, 236.62.
The Mount Gilead FFA of Mount Gilead, Ohio, 8 members, 1 advisor, 1 guest. Gold coming at you. It will be Tom Foley out of Hamilton, Ohio with Smoke and Thunder. And right there for that 3688 International Harvester. Right there. Smoke and Thunder and Tom Foley out of the Ohio State Tractor Pullers Association. The 1992 Super Stock Rookie of the Year. Right there. 6, 2, 3, 4, and 66. 234 and 66. So here we go now with last year's winner in 75 Super Stock out of Ackerley, Texas. These guys are cotton farmers. They farm 2,100 acres of cotton in Texas. A lot of cotton picking cotton, yes sirree. So Steve Blagrave out of Ackerley, Texas. On deck will be Jim Hayford out of Cary, Ohio, the lethal injection Ford machine. And then Mike Smith out of Marion, Ohio, the Deere Harvester. Those are your next 2 tractors due to come to the starting line. But right now we draw our attention to Steve Blagrave, last year's winner out of Ackerley, Texas. Don't forget tonight, 7:30, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever we get done here with this class this afternoon, you'll have a little bit of a break and get right back to Freedom Hall. If you've got tickets and you're fortunate enough to be here tonight for the championship night, 4 big classes of competition here tonight. Looking forward to being with you. Here we go. Steve Blagrave. And right there, let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it, you international people? What do you say about that one? 3 internationals already in the top end down here. Bradish, Foley, and Blagrave. Last year's winner. 240.53. The defending champion, now currently leading. He won 75 Superstock here in 1992, and now he's current leader at 240.53. A Ford TW20 on the line, a TW20 right here for Jim Hayford from Cary, Ohio. John Deere people, the next tractor up is a John Deere, so stick around. And right there for that TW20 Ford of Jim Hayford from Cary, Ohio.
I thought it said Kansas City on there. You get that T-shirt, don't you? Just buy that in the. Where'd you get that?
At the National Convention.
To Mike Smith from Marion, Ohio, and his fine father Kenny also. They get ready to go here to the starting line. Mike Smith with the Deere Harvester on the line, the big John Deere machine. Out of Marion, Ohio. It's a good tractor, ladies and gentlemen. He's won Superstock here before. It's a good 4450 on the line right here. Runs all over the Ohio State circuit. Finished 5th at Bowling Green last year in Superstock, and you finished the top 5 in Bowling Green. You've done something, I'll tell you. It's an outstanding tractor to watch here as he comes to the line. And I promised this little boy, if he puts that tractor in the sand, I won't sweep it off with my International Harvester Baroom. I promised him. So we will take care of that. Let's see what happens now with the Deere Harvester. Here he comes. Mike Smith, Marion, Ohio. Ride 'em, cowboy. Come on, Michael. Oh, great run. Boy, I'll tell you what, folks, he had to get on the binders hard over here, though, get on those brakes real hard with that John Deere, but he made a nice run. How about it, you John Deere people? Let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it? That John Deere tractor, 9.4, puts him in second place. 236.94. That would put him in the number 2 spot at 236.
We're going down to the front row here. Wait a minute. Let me get down to the front row. All right. Where are you guys from?
Sturgeon, Illinois.
All right, out of Illinois. Here we go with the Triple Massey. Going to cut her loose down there.
Well, an alcohol burner, ladies and gentlemen, right there. Therefore, he doesn't need his stacks. He runs alcohol. Therefore, you don't have any diesel smoke come out of that. So, good run for the Triple Massey. Jason Clinton, Strawberry Point, Iowa, with his run. Up next will be Doug Leak out of 0.78, 220.78. As we said before, Doug Leak will be up next all of the Coliseum. So not only can you pullers take advantage of this, but any of you fans who want to have some memories of Louisville, Kentucky, the 25th anniversary, you may want to go ahead and order yours, and it will be mailed to you a little bit later on. Okay, here we go now. Doug Leak, ladies and gentlemen, Updike, Illinois. One of those Illinois tractors, as Photo Joe says, from Illinois. I like the side of this tractor. It says that it looks good on paper, but will it run? The 7120 All Business Case International. Doug Leak from Updike, Illinois. Up next, Bob Schilling from Valmeyer, Illinois. The Hyper 0.80, 239.80. Scott, it's all yours. Take it away.
All right, we'll keep working.
So Hyperactive, ladies and gentlemen, makes his run here, the Hyperactive machine. Bob Schilling out of Valmeyer, Illinois. And makes his... So he put that international back on the line. Gary Gettinger. And the ultralight. Tractors pulled all over the country, anywhere from Canada all over. Made some excellent runs, pulling all over everywhere. All right, so here we go now. On the line, the ultralight and Gary Gettinger. And right there for the ultralight, Gary Gettinger. .231.47, and that should put him currently in the number 5 spot the way it looks. 231.47 puts him in number 5. Scott, take it away.
And international people. Where's the international folks at here? Right there? And this is the John Deere bunch, and y'all getting along okay, right? We're all peaceable people here.
Quite yet.
I'll tell you, you're the referee, right?
Yeah.
And believe me, Butch, with a big guy, he wants to be referee. Ain't nobody gonna fight up here, no problem. Let's go up a few more rows here. Wait a minute, I'll go all the way to the top here. I think I can make it, Butch. A few more rows. Look at this little guy. He's got a seat all the way on the top. What's your name?
Justin.
Justin, how old are you? Real out.
6.
6. Do you like the tractor pulls?
Yeah.
You having fun?
Yeah.
What color are we cheering for?
Green.
He's cheering for the green ones on the top row, 6 years old. They're breaking them in early up here in the John Deere section. Butch, back downstairs.
Okay, Scott, thanks very much. We have the next tractor coming in. Gene Hofstetter, he'll be on the Alice Chalmers 8050. Will be your next competitor here in Super Stock as we come to the line. Takes those RPMs up, waits for the sound of that swoosh to come into that charger, start kicking in. And right there. .82, 238 and 82. So up next will be the oblong. We have only one tractor past the 240-foot mark at this time. right there. How about it, you John Deere people? I want to hear from you right now. Oh, yeah. I know, Illinois, right, Illinois. Okay. The Squealer. Twin State Seed Company, the Squealer, John Deere 42, 243.19. Yes, sir, 243.19. He is, unless we go to a full pull system, the leader at 243.19. So we currently have 2 tractors out. The Darrell Meese Squealer has a full pull, and so does Steve Blagrave have a full pull. Those are your top 2 there. As our next tractor, the Hawk of Robert Galloway, goes to the starting line from Oblong, Illinois. From Strawberries Plain, Tennessee, the Hawk. He will be up next, but it's going to take better than 240 feet here for a full pull. The same tractor known as the Hawk and Robert Galloway. Whoa, folks. Some problems there for the Hawk of Robert Galloway. Let's give him a nice round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. How about it? The Hawk and Robert Galloway. Scott, take it away.
That's too bad. Anybody not cheering for John Deere up here in this section? There's a few of them. Even the guy with the Michigan, that's a Michigan hat, isn't it? Aren't you guys in Michigan playing Indiana this weekend? I think they are.
Many years. Fine running machine, I'll tell you. The Imposter, the Brabeck brothers from Lawrence, Iowa. On deck, Matt Goodwin from Farnhamville, Iowa. And then Scott Buss, the Demon Be Gone tractor from Denver, Iowa. So the last 3 tractors are represented from the state of Iowa. Okay, taking his time, getting ready to go here, ladies and gentlemen. Alan Brabeck, making sure everything is right with the Imposter. Watch this baby go hooking here. Yeah, let's go, Alan. Come on, Alice Chalmers. And a good run, a good solid run for the Brabeck brothers out of Lawrence, Iowa. The Imposter. 6'1", 228 and 61, 228.61 for the Imposter. And the Brabecks, 228.61. Already from this previous week or previous performances, I'll tell you, it's going to be tough. Here we go now. Mr. Goodwin. And good run for the 3688. Comes up just a little bit short of that run. Getting it out of here. Just a little bit short, folks. Well, there's one tractor to go, and it is a John Deere 4250.
Goodwin against all odds, Farnhamville, Iowa. One more Iowa tractor out of Denver, Iowa. And you thought it was in Colorado, didn't you? Denver, Iowa, Scott Buss and Demon Be Gone.
All right, the Demons Be Gone tractor now, getting ready to hook right, be pulled back to the starting line area. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, years ago, we had a separate pipe over on the side over there, and when the tractor would come into the arena, he would back into that pipe, the other smoke pipe, and would wait his turn. And then they decided a few years ago it would be better to cut down on the smoke somewhat if they just simply would back him into the tube and let him go then. So that's what they did, and it's worked out very, very well. So we shall see what happens here now. The Demons Be Gone tractor was 4th last year here at Louisville, and let's see if he's made some improvements over the year to come up into the big competition here today. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to ask, as soon as the last tractor pulls here today in the pull-off, that you all would leave Freedom Hall as quickly as possible so that the crews can get in here and start cleaning up for tonight. We appreciate your patronage here today and so forth, and hope you've enjoyed yourselves. But we need to get things straightened out for tonight, if you understand what we're saying. Here we go. Demon Be Gone. And right there, look at frustration on that gentleman's face as he makes his run, ladies and gentlemen. He shakes his head at the top end of the track here. Well, it's going to be 2 tractors, 1 John Deere and 1 International coming to the pull-off in the final here. 1 and 1. Should be an
85, 221.85 feet. 221.85 for Demon Be Gone. Well, I guess this is as it should be. 1 John Deere, 1 International, 1-on-1 for the win here this afternoon in the 75 Superstocks. Butch, your phone back to the starting line, and we'll see how far he can go. Steve Blagrave, Eckerly, Texas. And the International first up, then the John Deere, the alcohol-burning John Deere, will take the shot at him and try to bump him off. But Blagrave gets to set the mark to beat. And this Blagrave name has been much in evidence all week long. And Steve Blagrave now trying to add another trophy to the mantelpiece. Well, he's going to add one anyway. He wants it to be the big one. Well, we'll go ahead and watch this pull here, and then we'll make an announcement. Here we go with the International Red Thunder.
Come on, International! Oh, yeah! How about it, International people? Let's give him a nice round of applause. What do you say?
In the racing business, we'd say he used up a lot of racetrack on that shot, though. I know it wasn't quite as far as he could have if he had kept her straight, but it was a powerful run nonetheless. That fellow who caught me when I was upstairs at 3:30, the orange cone, it marks the distance Blagrave went. 233.77. That's the pull for the International Red Thunder and Steve Blagrave and that Texas pulling team. All right, that's the mark for the John Deere, and he's going to start rolling his way out in a moment. Bubba Hunter, please go to the front of the Coliseum. Did we say anything about the Whitley County FFA? If we didn't, we just did.
There's a tractor up next from Illinois, I've been told, coming to the starting line.
Down here, the Deere, the Squealer of Long, Illinois, and Darrell Meese. Quick survey, Freedom Hall. How many of you people think the winner is going to be this tractor right here, the big John Deere? How many of you say the winner's this International sitting back here with Blagrave? All right. Oh, Another 50-50 split, it sounded like to me. Well, let's see what happens as Daryl Meese hooks that John Deere to the sled. Alcohol burning squealer out of Oblong, Illinois. He has to beat 2-3-3-7-7. Those are the numbers he's got to beat. The orange cone signifies it. Here he comes. I think he's got it. I think he's got it. We'll have to wait. You John Deere people, do you think he got it? Let him hear you.
Well, I don't know, Scott. Hey, look at the laser beam. Look at the prism. I don't know. It's close.
It is close. Again, the numbers he's got to beat. 233.77. That's what the international went for Blagrave. We're waiting. Right now the laser is reading and the numbers are being punched into the computer to get the exact distance. He had to beat 233.77. Remember, it's that prism on top of the sled. That's where it's being bounced off of. Had to beat 233.77 the distance. 232.76. Steve Blagrave and the International Red Thunder's your winner. Second place goes to the squealer, John Deere. Now.
Well, big hug from the lady here. Congratulations. What a Valentine's Day present, huh? What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I never get her anything for Valentine's Day, so I guess this would be a great one, won't it?
Congratulations, an excellent run. It comes down to the bottom line there. It was really close between you two guys, but 2 years in a row, you can't beat that.
Yeah, Daryl and I think I beat him 2 inches last year, and this year, it's just, somebody's got to win, and luck has it that I have the last 2 years, so it's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it? Steve Blagrave, an outstanding run. What do you say? Ackerley, Texas, ladies and gentlemen. And our trophy presentations, ladies and gentlemen, by Mr. David Herndon from ICI Ag Products and Mr. Bill Kugel, ladies and gentlemen, with the Kentucky State Fair Board members right here. Where Daryl, I'll tell you, this is getting to be a habit, ain't it, buddy boy?
I know it, but I'll do it every year for second place.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's outstanding that you come in here and make such a nice run. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I thought this might be the year, because when I went through the first time, I outpulled Steve just a little bit, and when it all was said and done, he got me again.
You didn't change any weights or anything when you came back out, did you?
Yeah, we took a little off the front, but we should have took just a little bit more. It might have made the difference, but I'm happy with second.
Anybody like to thank today?
Oh, ICI and the selection committee down here, because if they didn't choose me to come here, I couldn't have done this, and Diener Seeds, Twin State Seeds, and everybody else involved.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a nice round of applause. How about it? Daryl Meese, ladies and gentlemen, out of Illinois. Yes, sirree. Once again, our trophy presentations, Mr. David Herndon from ICI Ag Products and Mr. Bill Kugel, the Kentucky State Fair Board. And we go over here and talk to Mr. Gene Hofstetter. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Outstanding run here today. How do you feel about your run?
I'm tickled to death with what we did. There's a lot of good iron that we beat out there. I'm just tickled to death to get third.
We noticed you have 80-50 here, a little bit different sheet metal than what the Brabeck brothers do. They run an 80-50 also, don't they?
Yeah.
It's a little older model, though, right?
I don't know. It's just an 80-50. I don't.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Good job, good run. Alice Chalmers right in there. We're glad to see some orange in here now.
Yeah. I would like to thank ICI. I'd like to thank all the people that helped put on the pull down here at Louisville, and I'd like to thank Northside Salvage, our sponsor for our tractor.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. There you go. Gene Hofstetler, ladies and gentlemen, and his Alice Chalmers machine. Once again, our trophy presentations are being done by Mr. Dave Herndon from ICI Ag Products Division, Mr. Bill Kugel of the Kentucky State Fair Board, right there. There you go.